All right, we're looking at the LRBT2 document, the strengthened section, and we're on number 6. Even though trading in ivory has been outlawed by international agreement, some piano makers still use ivory, often obtained illegally, to cover piano keys. Recently, experts have devised a synthetic ivory that, unlike earlier ivory substitutes, has found favor with concert pianists throughout the world. But because piano makers have never been major consumers of ivory, the development of the synthetic ivory will therefore probably do little to help curb the killing of elephants, from whose tusks most natural ivory is obtained. Okay, which one of the following, if true, most helps strengthen the argument? So, first things first, we need to identify what the conclusion is. And based on our indicator words, such as but, we have, and therefore, we have the development of synthetic ivory will therefore probably do little to help curb the killing of elephants. And what is our main proof for that? It is because piano makers have never been major consumers of ivory. Okay, so we have to find an answer choice that is going to show that just because piano makers aren't using the ivory, there's still some sort of demand or some sort of reason why the elephants are still being killed for the ivory in some other reason or some other capacity. All right, so let's look at these answer choices. A, most people who play the piano are not concert pianists, but can nonetheless easily distinguish between the new synthetic ivory and inferior ivory substitutes. Again, just because someone who plays the piano can distinguish between the two doesn't really change anything. We care more about the piano makers. So as long as the piano makers aren't listening to that, that's not really changing anything. If anything, that would weaken our argument because it would show a reason why maybe piano makers would want to use more ivory, but that's just sort of out of scope. That's not strengthening the idea. Okay. B, the new synthetic ivory can be manufactured to resemble in color and surface texture any of the various types of natural ivory that have commercial uses. Well, if anything, that would weaken the argument because if we're saying that this ivory can be used to replace ivory in other capacities, then that would suggest that the synthetic ivory is going to make a difference in the killing of elephants. So that's not strengthening the idea that just because the synthetic ivory was made for the pianists, that we're going to see a change in the killing of elephants. C, other natural products such as bone or tortoiseshell have not proven to be acceptable substitutes for natural ivory and piano keys. Again, do we care about these natural products not proving to be acceptable substitutes? We've already got this synthetic ivory that is being accepted. So C is out. D, the most common use for natural ivory is in ornamental carvings, which are prized not only for the quality of their workmanship, but also for the authenticity of their materials. So D's looking good, and that's showing that even though we've got the synthetic ivory and that there's no longer a demand with pianists and piano makers, the most common use for the natural ivory itself is in another product and it's prized for authenticity, so a synthetic substitute isn't going to help. So this would definitely strengthen the idea that the synthetic ivory isn't going to change the killing of elephants. E, it costs significantly less to produce the new synthetic ivory than it does to produce any of the ivory substitutes that scientists have developed previously. If anything, this would weaken it because it would suggest that the synthetic ivory is cheap to produce, so you would think that maybe there would be more mass appeal. That's not strengthening our argument. So D is going to be our answer.